a good chit chat tonight. It's kind of fun too, because this is our first Zoom meeting since we did the hats. And I feel like I got to know some people who had sent in their hats through seeing your work and seeing your hats and passing everything out. It was really is really cool. So we might have some new people today too, who didn't get to participate the first time, but are excited to participate this next time.
All right,
All right.
I got you live there. Let me get you highlighted over here.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Hi, everybody. So my name is Joy McDonnell, and Kesley Anderson is here also. We are the co-founders of One Stitch, One Voice, and we are excited to have everybody here. This is our first meeting after the November 2nd march and the election. So I know we've been all going through the feels, and Kesley has been a good cheerleader for me. And I'm hoping that I can be a good cheerleader for everybody else too, because we need to keep our spirits up, and we are going to continue knitting and crocheting because we have another march to attend. It's the People's March. It's going to be January 18th. And I believe that there will be sister marches. I don't think Washington, D.C. will be the only one. And I know that the Women's March is not the only sponsor of this particular march, which is why it's called the People's March. So they are expecting about 50,000 people in Washington, D.C. So it should be a pretty big march. It'll be January. We definitely need tons of hats. We needed hats in November. We will definitely need hats in January. So we're just here to talk about how everything went on November 2nd, what it was like, answer questions, and kind of talk to everybody about, how you're feeling and how you're doing, and how can we be together as a group to continue to encourage ourselves and our friends and family, anybody who's interested in knitting and crocheting. Um, it was a pretty amazing experience. Kesley and I had with all of our volunteers and with all of you guys receiving those boxes. Kesley and her husband, they were adorable. Each time they came in every night, there were more and more boxes of hats. And then we had volunteers the night before the march where we all got together and made sure every hat had a note and had a bag so that we could really take the time. We felt that it was really important to take the time to explain how the hat was made. We just didn't want people to come up and everybody just hand out a hat. We wanted to say, like, this is why this hat was made. This is who made your hat. This is when you're marching and wearing this hat, you're representing yourself and the maker of the hat. So, and then we had people who have been joining our Zoom meetings came by, and we were able to meet people in person, which was really, really cool. Um, so I think, Kes, let's open it up and let
Right.
you talk a little bit about how you motivated me. Because man, there were some tears on my
Sure.
side.
So let's just before I jump into that, just for some housekeeping, information. We do have our chat open. I just fixed it so everyone can chat with everyone else. If you want to drop in the chat where you're from, this is our first opportunity back together. So just reconnect. We have some new people here, and just give everybody a chance to say hi and everything like that. So feel free to do that in the chat and share in the chat. That's now open. Yeah, so it was funny. Joy, we sort of had a plan. We're like, okay, if it goes this way, this is what's going to happen. If it goes this way, this is what's going to happen. And I think Joy was like, throw all that plan out the window. Like this is not what I was expecting at all. It just throw it out the window. And we really had, I don't know how everybody else is feeling about this, but we really had a big heart to heart about the patriotic. and sticking with that and everything. And I feel very passionate about this still. And the real motivation for sticking with it is to reclaim our patriotism. And I just feel like that is more important now than ever before. That the patriotic hats, it's really important that to me and to everybody else, it was really representing everybody else, that we continue with that effort. Now, with that being said, we also really had a long conversation about the form of the hat and why it should stick with the cat ear hat, which harkens back to the pussy hat of 2017 March, and how passionate we both were that it continue that form as a symbol of feminism, as a symbol of protest, and that we continue to work with that. So with the conversation around the patriotism, the red, white, and blue, and continuing our efforts to reclaim our patriotism, that was definitely like people that got the hats, as Joy said, were so excited to not just get the hat for the symbolism of the cat ear style, but the patriotism, because the resounding yes was yes. The American flag needs to be for all of us. It needs to represent everybody, and I want to be part of reclaiming that flag. So the resounding yes, 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 I want to wear that, I want to represent that, was fantastic at the march. And I think in January and moving forward, it's going to even be more important to all of us. We noticed in the media reports when they showed pictures of people, a lot of them were specifically with the hats. Like somebody posted in our group on MSNBC, one of the morning shows, they had posted a picture of that, used a picture of women wearing the patriotic hats as their lead into the story. So that was super exciting. But it's also a time of confusion, I think, of uncertainty. And as a group, Joy and I are committed to continuing our conversation and continuing to learn from each other, not just about our knitting and our crochet, but about our civic duties. So we'll be posting things that are going to have that civic duty undertone, but we're still 100% on our knitting and crochet. So that's pretty exciting, and keeping everybody motivated, because I know it is a busy time of year with Thanksgiving and the holidays, and keeping everybody hopefully getting a few hats knitted up here and there. So Joy has a really fun new pattern she's going to share tonight, and I'll kind of share a little bit about what I'm working on. And then we want to hear what you guys think and how you're feeling. We really do want to open it up and have our community going.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Joy.
We've had, there's some folks who had a chance to write in the chat. Vicki, you and I were both in Texas. I am in the Dallas area, so totally get how you feel there. And then Janelle, I think Janelle, is that how I say your name? I think I'm right. You're in Camas, Washington. My son he works in Camas, Washington. So funny to see that. That's so cool. And then, and we have Charlotte, who's from Pennsylvania. This is so weird. This is why I've lived all over the place. I used to live in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. That's where I raised my children. So love Havertown, like get Pennsylvania, love Pennsylvania. Fort Worth, I'm in Dallas. I'm over in Irving. So we're like neighbors. And Chicago, I love that Chicago's here. And Margie, yes, you were the one who was in the paper, which one was it? Huffington Post coverage, because you were knitting and walking. I love that. So like each one of you is such an important person to what we're doing here. And I love the connections that we can all have. And I think I think Janelle, or was it Vicki, who said you were sad and you didn't want to knit for a little while, but you're ready now. And yeah, that's exactly Kesley can tell you she called me the next day and she's like, okay, we got to keep going. And I was like, no, I'm done. I can't do anymore. And it took a little while to process that, to get through that. Does anybody else want to? So the way Kesley helped me, I think, is the way she just explained it. And she was like, look, Joy, if we give up, we can't give up. We have to continue what we're doing, and we have to continue being who we are, and we can't give up. And the more she told me that, the more she reinforced that, the more she, encouraged me to be hopeful, the better I felt. So does anybody want to talk about how they're feeling and know that this is okay to talk about? Because I definitely had my feels.
And if you don't, that's totally okay too, because we are posting this on YouTube. So if you don't want to have that out there, totally
Yes.
understand. So
That's true too. But yeah, I had another thought, and then I thought,
Margie would like,
hands.
let me bring Margie and Joy. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Ah, all right, Margie.
I unmuted
Hello,
myself.
Margie.
Okay. Well, I remember the first go around in 2016. I was working at the time. And the next day, and it was just a really up and down week because the Cubs had just won the World Series for like 100 years, kind of thing. And so everybody was, well, I was out like, flying high, whatever, oh, this is gonna be great. And then, the election in 2000. And I remember going to work and talking, seeing people, and I said, I can't talk because if I start to talk, I'll start to cry.
Mhm.
And this time it wasn't like that. It was like a total disbelief, and I'll be honest, as a woman and as a woman of color, particularly, I'm like, oh, you are kidding me, Um,
I agree, Margie. And I think that was
like I just couldn't believe. I mean, I was born 6 months after my parents arrived in this country, and quite frankly, oh, can we use 4 little words on this?
Go for it.
But you can do
My parents did not immigrate here for this crap. I'm sorry, and go through the struggles that they did for this crap,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Canada's looking really good,
I know. We've all been through those thoughts, like, what would it be like to live wherever? But yeah, that's an interesting story, Margie, that your parents immigrated here, and what they immigrated for and what you're living in now is certainly not what they would have anticipated.
Oh. And I used to, as in the article it says, when I was young, I'm the only one in the family born in the United States. I'm a birthright citizen. And so when my three older brothers and I would have an argument, I'd say, I could be president because I was born in the United States. You can't. And they would say, no, you can't. You're a girl. And I'm like, huh? And I thought, okay, Hillary, yes, prove them wrong. And then I said, now, it's 2024, please. I mean, I'm almost 70 years old. Excuse me?
Right.
Please, in my lifetime.
I know. I know. And there's so many. I think the way you started out by saying the first time you were surprised, this time you were in disbelief. And I think maybe that's a very good way to say it, because I think that's kind of how I felt. It's weird because when the first time around, when Hillary lost, I went to bed thinking she's gonna win. She's totally gonna win. And my husband came.
Oops, Joy, you muted.
Got
Yeah, you
it.
can mute it.
And he said, no, she lost. And I was like, oh my gosh. And this time I went to bed thinking, we've got it. And woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning to check it. And disbelief is probably the thing, like why? And I don't understand why.
I think because what formulated my disbelief was the fact that first time I got around, you can say, okay, you weren't sure of this person, hey, maybe he wasn't going to be as horrible as, look, maybe there was some intelligence there. I don't know. But the thing is, we lived through 4 years of his alleged leadership, and you still want him to be.
I
That
know. I know. I
that
think
makes no sense to me. I'm a person that just like Star Trek, Mr. Spock, logic. There's no
logic.
logic to that.
Logic.
There's no logic to that.
Oops.
Yeah. And I think, now it's really about what do we do from this point forward to make sure that in 2 years, we're helping people understand what those elections are about. And then in another 2 years, what are those elections about? And then also like, and this is a lot of what Kesley and I talked about, like what are the civic things that we can do? What are the local things that we can do? What are those, where do our votes count in those places? So we still have to pay attention to what's happening around us in the smallest of our areas in order to affect up. So I think that's a lot of what Kesley and I talked about is, maybe during the holidays, during this time, it's really about showing gratitude and being grateful to our police departments, hospitals, local work fire departments. And this is the time when we do bake the cookies and take some things just to get ourselves feeling better and feeling like we're part of our communities, because what's happening locally is going to be very, very important for what we need to achieve in the future.
I like it, Joy. Thank you. That's great. And Margie, thank you so much for sharing to your experience. I think that, yeah, we really do, as Vicky's saying, we really do need our community now more than ever. And as this sort of federal news seems to be a bit overwhelming, I'm sure you guys are seeing how the media, like MSNBC, is their viewership is way down, and we're all sort of like collapsing a bit. But that really is a good opportunity to look locally as to where you can help. Like I reached out to my local state delegate and offered her my assistance for whatever she needs for her next election, and just help with her campaign. And so I think like that's really where we can have an impact, or that's where I'm putting my focus, as well as the People's March, and trying to weigh what I can impact and what is just quite literally out of my hands. So so I think we'll continue to like talk about that and work on that and work on our hats. So I think that like kind of what I want to talk about a little bit is what we want to our lofty goals for One Stitch One Voice moving forward, and specifically focusing on the January 18th People's March. We do want to be able to distribute the hats again and have enough hats on hand. So I think with the larger anticipated crowd, we need you guys, every member of One Stitch One Voice, to be helping spread the word of what we're doing, sharing it with your community of knitters and crocheters or crafters. Like I actually have some fabric I ordered from Joann's to make fleece hats if I run out of time, so I can just make some fleece patriotic hats. So we can kind of go into the sewing community, the quilting community, and talk with people who are interested in reclaiming patriotism for all, not for one specific group. So we need you guys to help us. We really, really need you guys to help us spread the word, be active in the Facebook group so that people want to participate. And Joy and I are posting every day. We have a new post scheduled all the way until January 20th. We have a new post scheduled. So like if you guys can interact with that, you can share it. We have now, Joy's got a Facebook page for One Stitch One Voice, which would be like the house of all the information, so that We're going to take our group private so that we feel a little bit more comfortable with that. But we really needed to get the page out there because we want to spread the word and get that going. So, so we really need, but that's what Joy and I are asking. That is our ask of you guys this evening, is to, if you have a spare minute and you're on Facebook or Instagram or Threads or Blue Sky, and you can just drop down, hey, I'm going to this Zoom tonight, please join me. Or I'm learning this, I knit, but I'm going to try this crochet pattern, or I crochet and can try this knit pattern, or this would be a fun hat. That's kind of like, I do that on Threads when somebody's like, I want to learn how to knit or crochet. I'm like, hey, here's a link to our group, come join us. And our group is growing. We are definitely growing. I think I was like, let's get to 100 a month ago. And now we're almost at 500 people in our group. So
Yeah.
our group is growing, and that's from everybody's help of spreading the word and looking for a place to land. So Joy, with all that ask out of the way, you do have something to share tonight that you've been working on, that during our crazy busy time of a quick knit, you'd say.
Yeah, so I felt like even though I had all my grief and everything, I was like, I can't stop knitting. I still have to keep knitting. But I needed a moment to kind of step away from what I was doing and then do another pattern and then kind of come back. So there's a pattern on Ravelry that's super popular right now. It's the Musselboro hat. And everybody's been making it. I swear it's got like 20,000 views. So I thought, okay, let me just knock one of those out real quick. And it's a super cute hat. I pulled yarn that I'd had from 2016 that had been waiting to be made into something. But it was a fast knit, and I thought it was a fascinating kind of way to knit a hat because it really it comes apart and it's like a tube. So and then it folds up and then creates the hat. Every time I do this, it takes a little bit of, so it folds into itself. Does that make sense? This looks messy, but in reality, it's not so bad. It just folds right into itself. And then it has a nice brim. So when you put it on, it's got it's got a good little brim to it, which meant that it's got like some good weight to it and everything. And then I thought, okay, so this is a pattern. Clearly, this is somebody else's pattern. It's a very popular pattern. But I was like, I have some sock yarn, and could I do the patriotic hat in this kind of a style? And I always have to look at my other computer screen to get it on straight. But there we go. I used sock yarn. Why can't I get this on?
It looks cute, Joy. It looks great.
Turn it this way. All right. So I used sock yarn that was a self-striping and use the pattern, but instead of doing the cast on that's talked about in the pattern, I just did a provisional cast on. So it was a full-on tube. Just knit the tube and then did a 3-needle bind off on each side, and then it makes right into that. So it's so easy because it's literally one big square of fabric. And I did it, like I said, I did it in a sock yarn. So it took me like a week to make it. But if you did it in our regular sized yarn and just did a long tube and folded it down the center, you could make the same kind of hat. And I found that this one was very cathartic because I didn't have to think about anything. And I also kind of like, so this yarn is from a company called Must Stash. And like I said, it's a self-striping sock yarn. So the way that it kind of striped around, I thought was really cool. I didn't have to do anything to make this happen. It just did it on its own. And this one is called, I think it's called Old Glory. So the company is Mustache, and yeah, it's called Old Glory, and it's got stellina in it, so it actually has some sparkle on it, which is really cool.
Joy, on the YouTube recording of this, we can put, and in the Facebook group, we can put a link to the yarn, right?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it's a really neat company. It's a small company, just family owned business. And the way that they do their yarn, when you buy it, it's meant for socks. So you're getting two skeins of the same self-striping yarn, but they set it up so that when you go to pull your yarn or use your yarn, you're getting your striping the same for each sock. So it's a very cool company, and I just thought it was a really fun yarn. But Kesley, you also have a variegated. There's a couple that you have on your desk. You have the Finch Mod one, which I think would make up into a really cute hat like this.
Yeah.
And then,
I don't have that cute little ball maker. I have to get Mike to hold this for me. But
yeah,
this is the Finch Mod yarn that you've done. And I think this is like so fun and cool. So I do have this one. And then I also have this one, which is a red heart yarn, and it's like variegated. So you have like lots of the red and white stripe, and then you get to the blue. I got this one on Amazon, and it is red heart, and I made that one up in this hat, kind of similar to yours, Joy. It's a little bit big, so it's a larger size hat. Because I didn't have the pattern quite worked out, but I did it as a rolled hem on so this is just, it's all stitched. I did it on round needles, it's all stitched, and then I did the 3 needle bind off on the top, and it's just is a little bit big for my head, but it looks really cute on my husband. So I think I did 92 to cast on, and I think if I were to do it again, I'd probably do it probably like 70, so like in
yeah.
the 70s, because it's really big for my head. But I loved the stripes, and I thought, oh my gosh, it was so easy to make because it literally is just knitted, and then this part just rolls up like, so
Yeah, I
it's
like
super
that you did
cute.
the rolled brim. That's smart too.
Yeah, it made it easy. I mean, it's just knitting in the round. That's it. That's all I
Yeah.
have to do.
You could just, yeah, you just cast that on, do, 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 and then do a 3 needle bind off. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of, I'm looking at ways, because right now, and everybody's getting their own patriotic hat for Christmas. Everybody, like, and everybody is getting one. No, I'm not making one for you. Sorry.
Come on, Kes.
You're fun. I mean, everybody in my family, my immediate family. So that was great. So
Yeah.
Mark is asking about the knitting looms. Joy has a pattern on Ravelry for the patriotic hat on the
That's on a
knitting.
machine. That's machine knitting, which is
Oh,
different than a loom. But I think if you have a loom, you could just cast on for a hat on the loom and make it however long you want it to be. And then you would I have to think on a loom how you would do a 3 needle bind off. I think you'd probably have to put your stitches onto waste yarn, and then you could, I wonder if you could use that loom hook and do like a crochet. I'll have to play with that just a little bit to see how you would do that top, because the loom, you're pretty wide apart. And usually you just pick up all those stitches and then just yank it, and that gives you a top. But on that one, yeah, there's got to be a crochet way to go across the top. And definitely you can crochet this too, Kesley. This is like easy to crochet.
oh yeah.
Mhm.
In fact, I'm trying to figure out, and I'm not Joy's the pattern maker.
I need to write the
I am not. But so Vicky says she only crochets. So Vicky, my first hat, I did a top down crochet version. And so I'm working on a top down version right now. I really am not very good on the sides of it, but you could use Joy's that variegated yarn and do in like with the rolled top, just do the top down crochet to kind of pattern, And then I don't even think you need, I don't know. I haven't gotten to the end yet. I'm kind of going off of this one here.
I love that the plant comes out of the bottom of that.
Because Joy left me after the March, left me two brooms that she had done. So a red one and a blue one.
Oh, did you use those?
I did. I just added this on top of the red, on top of the blue one. So you did the blue part of this, and I did the red part. And I think I did the crochet. I think this is crochet.
I love that one though, Kez. That's so cute.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
I
the
think
fun
you-
part.
I think you did the knit on the brim. Your
Did I
brim
knit
is knit, and then I just did the crochet here.
Love.
Cool.
Love it.
I know. And I like how
I'm so glad you found those. I left those in the back of your car.
I know. I found them. And I was like, I'm not gonna let those go to waste.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So I think, Vicky, I think like if you crochet or knit, like I think I do both. I don't have a preference for one over the other, but this one, so this I'm trying to do crochet and Joy's doing our knitting.
Yes, however, I think this kind of tube idea is probably a nice, quick, easy, even easier than what we were doing before.
But is there a way to do it so it doesn't have to fold up on itself? Because it
I mean,
seems like you're making it twice as long, no?
I'm making it twice. Yeah, with a sock yarn, I made it twice as long because a sock yarn is so thin and I wanted it to be able to fold up to get that nice brim.
Mhm.
So I made it twice as long, but if you wanted to do them fast, do what you did. Do that rolled edge
Yeah.
tube and then 3 needle bind off. Easy.
Yeah. Do you have you figured out how many stitches if you're just using like a worsted weight wool, like an acrylic? Joy hates acrylic. Joy and I, Joy's like, it has to be fancy. I'm like, I just use acrylic.
So, right. Yeah, I think I have officially become a yarn snob, which I'm proud of, not ashamed of, because yeah, if I knit a sweater or something, I like the wool and I love all the agricultural shows and I love learning about the breeds of sheep. So like I have gone down that rabbit hole and there's nothing wrong with acrylic. I just find it a little hard on my hands. So for me, it gets a little hard to do, but there's nothing wrong with it. And if you were going to do an acrylic, if you were going to do one of these tube kind of hats, I would say whatever you were casting on, the amount of stitches for the if you were doing just the solid color hat, that's how many stitches to cast on. I would use the solid color hat as your stitch count. And the other thing is if you look at the label and see how many stitches are in an inch based on the needle size that you're using, then measure your head. 22 inches seems to be about average. So then I take -1, or 23 is my head, and then I subtract 1, so I have 22. And then I just take however many stitches are in that inch, multiply it by how many inches I want, and that's how many I cast on.
Nice.
So
Okay.
I don't think there's that's the beautiful thing. I don't really think we have to necessarily have a pattern to just zoop and go.
So when you start it, you're doing that on round needle. I mean on knitting in the round, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
how do you end the beginning? How do you close off the beginning?
Well, that's why. So this one you would need to do. So I did a Judy's Magic cast on, which is something. It's a way just to twist yarn to get it on, like you'll do it for the top of socks. But you could also do a provisional cast on, which is where you kind of crochet your stitches onto your needle. And then once you're done, it keeps your stitches live. So you undo the crochet stitches and then you just pick up those stitches and do a 3 needle bind off. Your face is like, what the heck, Joy?
Yeah, that
Trust me.
is
It's nuts. If I showed you, you'd be like, that's easy. So I will do a video.
Thank you. Thank you. We all thank you. We all appreciate that you're willing
Oh,
to share that.
but who do you guys know? You guys know how to do a provisional cast on, right? I got knitters here. No? Oh, good. Okay, so there's a reason to do a provisional cast on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm down with that.
Yeah,
got
I think so, Joy. I think that's your next task. I think so. All right. Well, I know was there anything else we had to go over tonight? I can't remember. I think that was everything. It was just what we were working on. Oh, I know one thing. Joy and I started a hat stack Sunday. So
Mm.
just to give everybody a heads up, on Sundays you can take a picture of your hat stack. So I'll take all my hats I've been working on, and I'll have like kind of like a dedicated space in my house that I'm gonna kind of just keep stacking my hats on. I can't wait to start taking pictures of my package stack as the boxes arrive for you guys. But we're gonna do that on every Sunday. It's Hat Stack Sunday, so we want to encourage everybody to participate. And then I think on Friday or Saturday, I think it's Friday, is our Wear It in the Wild
Mm-hmm.
post. So we have like prompts for everybody to wear their hat in the wild. And so we'll share those out in the Facebook group and encourage everybody to participate. That way you can kind of think ahead. Like I'm trying to remember which was one of them.
We
Aware.
had like we had one where you put an AI background behind you to show that you're in some crazy space or something.
Oh no, we were gonna put them in a crazy space. We were
Oh,
gonna,
I
that was
can't.
one of them.
We
But there,
gotta get our little calendar together because we wrote it down, but
I know. So we'll share that. But just so you guys know, like that is one thing, like to take your hat and like if you're at the grocery store, take a selfie of yourself in the grocery store wearing your hat. And then we'll post that on Wear It in the Wild. In the wild. But
yeah.
that was fun. I think that was part of the one of the funnest things that you guys did after the march in November was when we posted the video. People would be like, I saw my hat, I saw my hat. And you guys, like, it gave us a chance to show you guys your hats and people wearing them and stuff like that. So that was really fun to share that with everybody. And for you, I think you guys enjoyed that too. So that's what gave us the idea to do a Wear It in the Wild.
It was so much fun to see all those hats at the march. And like they were a drum line. What was that, Kesley?
Mm-hmm.
There's a name for this group of drummers. And they were all wearing red, white, and blue, and they wanted the hats. And so we gave them the hats. So the drum line that was leading the march, they were wearing the hats. And then throughout the march, you could see like people standing in different places wearing the hats, people with their kids wearing the hats. It was really fun. And then the emotion of like handing the hat to the person because people waited in line. And like I said, we didn't just give them out willy-nilly. We took time to explain it and to tell the story. And the feeling that people got, like, oh, somebody made this. So then they went back onto the Facebook page and posted a picture or they posted something. And then somebody had included an envelope and some stamps, and people had written that person back, which I thought was amazing. So yeah, there was a huge connection.
I'm trying to think there were a couple packages that had like extra things in it, and I can't remember whose. I want to say it was yours, Janelle, because I know you sent in, there was something special about yours. So this may have been one of your hats, but somebody sent in hats that were Swiftie-esque. And we had about 4 or 5 young women, like early 20s at the oldest. And when I saw them in line, I was like, oh, I've been saving these hats for them. And it
Were
was
they
just
the
like,
ones wearing all the pink shirts?
no, it was another group. It was
Okay.
another group. And it just was like, it was like, I had and I was holding those hats because there was something special about the hats. And I was like, these have to go to just the right person who's going to appreciate the hat and stuff like that. And it was like, there were people who, like Joy had one gentleman who had cochlear implants. And he was like, can you help me get the hat on right and everything like that. And it just was like, and it wasn't, Joy wasn't the only one handing out the hats. We had about 6 or 8 volunteers also helping hand out the hats, so they got to experience that.
It was
But
cool,
yeah,
the gentleman with the cochlear implants. It was because our father has the same thing. And he was like, I gotta get it on right. And I was like, no, my dad has this. I know how to do it. So
yeah, yeah.
it just was the amount of I don't know, I feel like there was just an emotion
Yeah,
that
and
was there, energy.
the other cool thing, after the event, people would come into the Facebook group, share their picture and say like, my hat was made by, and they would post who made their hat in the Facebook group and share a picture of them wearing the hat. So that was really cool. So somebody's asking, about the t-shirts, the sweatshirts we're wearing. Tony's asking about these. Tony, my daytime job is I teach craft classes, and we needed something to stand out. So I just made these our sweatshirts for all of the volunteers to hand out hats, so it was obvious who was doing it. I would be happy to cut, if you don't have a Cricut, or some type of digital cutter, Cricut, Caesar, Silhouette, I would be happy to cut one out and mail it to you, and then you can just press it on a sweatshirt. I got my sweatshirts from Walmart. They were $9.99, the athletic ones. So I would be happy to send it to you, or if you like wanna, if you want to send me a sweatshirt and I'll press it on for you and then mail it out to you. Joy and I are not selling anything. We're not taking donations or anything like that. First of all, we're not a 501(c)(3). So
We have no way to account for funds.
Yeah.
His husband, he's like, don't take anybody's money.
Yeah, so it's just
May I suggest that
Yeah.
if we send you a self-addressed envelope, then you could do the Cricut thing then?
Yeah, and I would be, that sending you one of these isn't that expensive, and you can just heat it on with a home iron.
But still, send me, to postage, it's 70 cents now, people.
Yeah.
I did postcards. I spent $500 trying to get somebody elected. And so it adds up.
It does.
Trust me, the 3,000 hats that I did for the migrants,
Yeah.
and it's my own thing. So that's what I would suggest.
Yes.
Yeah. And you guys, is there a website exactly?
So we've got Kesley and I are setting things up quickly. We've got our Facebook page and our Facebook group, and then we have our Instagram, One Stitch, One Voice. And then I do have a blog website. It's Crafting with Joy. I don't always go over and do things on that blog, but we don't have like a true website, to answer your question. We have some things that are sort of puzzled together right now, but we'll get there.
I know. Vicki, I will post the right now. I don't have it. It's a private sorry, Vicki's asking if I'll share the Cricut file. And I can't yet because I don't have a picture in Cricut. So now to share a project, you have to have a picture, and I don't have a picture in there, so I can't share the project. But I will do that in the Facebook group for you, no problem. I'll get that done by tomorrow. And then Tony, if you want to, Tony, why don't you reach out to me if you don't mind, about the shirt, and I'll be happy. We can coordinate that. And if anybody else wants it, you can reach out to me as well on Facebook or through our email. You can just send me a quick email, but I'll be happy to do that. Our address is will be the same address that we used before for shipping the hats to us, 2915 Hunter Mill Road, Suite 1A. It'll be the same address. And they're ready for them. They are ready to get those packages.
Did
It's
they like it? Did they
I
like
love
getting
it.
the packages there?
Oh yeah, and the mailman, he's so sweet. Like he brings them in, he's like, got more packages for you. So he's super cute and super sweet. So yeah, my email is creativekesley@gmail.com, or if you're on Facebook, you can reach out to me there. I'll type my email into the chat here. But I love it, and I would love to get you guys, if anybody wants a sweatshirt, I'm happy to get that to you in whatever format, like whatever makes sense. If you need me to run next time I'm on my Walmart run, I'll grab a sweatshirt for you. And then you can just pay me back for the sweatshirt and the shipping, and I'll send that out to you. No problem.
And then Margie also asked if we have a timeline established, and we do. We're thinking that everybody needs to have hats in the mail by the 10th.
And that's just for regular shipping, like just for ground shipping.
So the goal is the 10th, and we know that this is a challenging time of year because holidays are coming, and we definitely want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, safe travels. I hope you have an amazing time with your families. But if you are traveling, if you're in the car, it's a good time to knit if you're the passenger princess and you can knit. It's a great time to knit. And then also on the plane, I take all of my knitting on the plane. And I'm going to be doing a little video on what I take. Some people will use interchangeable needles and they'll take the tips off and put those in their check bag. I don't do anything. I don't do any of that.
Well, Joy, don't give away your secrets, because aren't you going to do a video for us on that this week?
That's true. I should not give away my secrets.
Do not give away your secrets.
All right. So you have to watch the video.
Yeah.
This is what I take. But I take everything. Just not long needles. Don't take those.
All right. All right, guys. Well, if there's no more questions, we will hop off. Thank you so much for joining us and for continuing to work. Feel free, like if you need a pep talk, reach out. We understand, like we've gone through the emotions, and we're still going through the emotions, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of emotions to share and go through. So I know this week might be challenging, family situations and everything. So feel free to reach out on Facebook if you need that one-on-one sister talk of pull your stuff together.
That's what
I'm a sister. I'm the sister to call for that. If you want empathy, if you want somebody like, oh, that's Joy.
Oh yeah, the empathy sister is me, the one who gives you the hard, tough love. That's her.
Yep. So feel free to reach out to either of us, both of us, whatever you guys need. I cannot express enough how appreciative we are for everybody being involved. And we think this is a great project, a great focus. It sort of takes some of that negative energy and puts it into something positive, and we're moving it forward. And the Women's March is excited to have us participate in January, and they're still working out all their details. So as soon as we know more, we will share that out with you guys. So thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Happy stitching, and we'll see you at the next Zoom. Bring a friend.
Yeah, bring friends.
Thanks everybody.